All right, we're here and we're gonna look at the charts from a top-down perspective, higher time frame. Mm, Quick analysis of where we are and where things might go this year. I have not looked at the charts today. I didn't really look at them much yesterday. Started taking a break after missing the move, and I was uh, felt a lot of psychological pain over not only missing the move but drawing down as I took losing shorts. So it made sense to kind of sit out for a minute before we get back in. Now, I had a thread the other day where I was saying that, in my opinion, a good trading system for Bitcoin is focuses on liquidity and fundamentals slash news. What's unique about Bitcoin is that it is the most liquid crypto asset by a wide margin, twice as much as ETH, and like tens or hundreds of times most highly traded altcoins. Crypto is unique within other assets that it builds liquidity 24/7. So it's often useful to think about Bitcoin as a tool to liquidate as many traders as possible. It's a PvP battleground. And one of the best tools to look at liquidity is HY block capital. The other tool I really like for looking at liquidity is simply looking at daily highs and lows. And then the second thing being macro news fundamental. It's been my thesis for a long time that that peak CPI would mark the market bottom. We had peak CPI in June. Aside from Bitcoin, most assets bottomed in June, but there was a news event, FTX, which caused Bitcoin's price to go lower. I believe we bottomed. I believe that there's a decent chance we see all-time highs before 15.4 thousand and we never go back there, but I could be wrong. It's just an idea. And this chart supports it, that there's not really that much liquidity down here. I don't believe there's any active shorts up here, but it would, they would come and it would force a lot of buying up here. Do I think we're going to hit all-time highs this year? No. All that's possible. My expectation would be 2024, 2025. We might do that. And not just Bitcoin, but the broader markets as well. Might I be wrong? Yeah, I might be wrong. So let's go to the drop down to the 1 year. So what I'm seeing on the 1 year is, this is my map for the year. The hottest area that's nearby is 25,000, 26,000. I expect price to drive towards there, and I think it would make sense to try to catch longs towards there. We didn't really leave that much behind, honestly. We just did not. So 26K in the first quarter is what I would expect, and maybe higher. Okay, so let's go to the 6 month. Here's where we are. Now, it's possible, of course, it's just a thesis, it's an idea that I'm wrong, and price comes back down here to 14,000 and eats these longs. But you notice there's still way more heat above us than below us. The big moment happened when we took 17.7 down to 15 point. We went all the way to 15.4. So I do expect higher. Let's keep moving down to lower time frames. Now the 3 month. The 3 month, there is a lot of heat above us, and you do see there is a lot under the lows. There's a lot under the lows. So should we go back to 15.2 and 14.2? It's possible. I don't think it's particularly likely for a couple reasons. The first is and obviously I could be wrong, and all it means is maybe I would lose money or not make as much money as I otherwise would. The first is fundamental reasons. CPI peaked. Rates will probably increase a little bit, but they're near their peak, and most likely financial conditions will either stay the same or get better. So it's hard to imagine more bad news than what we experienced. All the major players blew up. The Bitcoin miners capitulated. FTX went down. The major hedge funds went down. Right. So even though there's a lot of yellow down here, there's not very much on the move. It happened so fast. And it happened by, it seems, more spot buying and short liquidations. So while there's a lot of heat down at 15.2 to 14.2, it will be hard to get there because there's not like a big long cascade that could easily happen. So I'm expecting higher personally. Now, if we go to the monthly, there's more below the move, obviously, because everything up we took at the top. So on a lower time frame, I do think it could make sense that we would drive towards 16.2. I think it's very unlikely we go back down there, but it's possible. Again, because there isn't enough in here to trigger a cascade, but price could move towards there to gather more liquidity for our push to 26. That currently is my thesis and my narrative. Now we go down to the 7-day. On the lower time frames, we cleared so much liquidity. It really makes sense to range for an extended period of time, a couple weeks maybe, to gather liquidity for the next move up or down. This is oftentimes the way the market works, is volatility, expansion, contraction. It takes time to generate the liquidity to really create these major moves. So I don't feel like I've missed anything by not paying attention over the weekend. I haven't checked the price once. Let's check the price for the first time. I'll come back to this. And I was correct to do nothing because price has not moved at all. It makes sense to stay tight in here, gather liquidity. But my idea is I'm a lot more interested in longing pullbacks than I am in shorting swing failures of the highs. If we look at daily highs and lows for liquidity, and the idea of using these gaps as areas where price can find support or resistance, there's not much resistance before 26K. There's a lot of support before 17,300. So I'm interested in a move, if we can get it, towards this 26 area, somewhere in here. Now, how to do that was sort of interesting. Let's look at, I have no limit orders yet. I'm kind of waiting for something to happen. A big red day, more liquidity to build up, a sweep and a drop. I don't feel the need to order right now. I mean, technically, this would be considered possible. It's not necessarily a bull flag. We have a little triangle forming. And squeeze up here, squeeze down here. But it makes sense to kind of wait. ETH has a little higher to go. Definitely here. I expect 22s on ETH as well, at the minimum. And then my ambitious target for this year is 3,600 for ETH. Now we're gonna go look at past price history to inform the future, and the past doesn't always repeat, but it often rhymes. So after our parabolic run, we had a bear market. Okay. And we're starting to rally out. It seems we've rallied off the bottoms, in my opinion. So there's a couple other examples of this. This one where we had our parabolic bull run, followed by a bear market, capitulation, rallied off the bottom. Now what's interesting here, to compare our current price action, it's a little bit different because this rally, there was one big day. With Bitcoin, there was a couple large expansive days. But what I want to point out here is that this pullback never happened. So this looks sort of similar to where we are, right? And this is one of the things that I'm going to be studying this week in my deep work focus. A lot of people want a long in here. This is seen as support, but price never comes back to offer that entry. I'm not even sure if it sweeps this low. I think it might. Keep sweeping the highs. Yeah, it leaves this liquidity behind, which is similar to what we saw. It's so similar to what we saw. And then, yeah, just at this point, I think we can expect liquidity to start being left behind. So to get into a bullish move, like sweep something, but I can't expect everything to be swept. Big red days might be opportunities. Here we had quite a long consolidation, weeks before we had another move. So there can be more moves. And I also want to point out, this is for myself and for you, that even though I missed this move off the bottom, it doesn't mean I necessarily missed the best trade entry. So for instance, in 2020, I didn't start buying until around this area, 12,000. Price had already gone from 5,000 to 12,000 by the time I started buying. But I captured an insane gain because the move went quite a bit longer. So let's look at this bottom, which is quite a different, this is, I think, quite a bit different bottom, but maybe can inform us similarly where this is a different sort of bottom. We did not leave that much liquidity behind. We didn't leave that many gaps behind. Price just went, yeah. So looking at that, now actually let's go back. I don't know if if Coinbase has this bottom. Wow, that's an insane move. Price starts to come out of the bottom. Here we got quite a big pullback, but we got a retest actually of this. But that's as far as we got. We didn't give a better entry, and again, like a huge amount of liquidity left behind. But the thing is, at these bottoms, when spot buyers start stepping in, they don't have liquidation prices. They might have capitulation prices. They do not have liquidation on a a spot buy. So something that would be interesting to look at right now, if we look at Bitcoin US dollar, actually let's go to Binance, BTC USDT spot on Binance. All right, they pulled it off. We'll look at the BUSD and compare it to the perp. So BUSD, this is the um, it's at 20,911. 20,911. So now we want to look at the perp and compare. BTC, perp. Okay, the perp's actually higher, or maybe just price is moving right now. Yeah, it will be interesting to see what an opportunity to get on board would be. I would hate to just be sitting on the side and seeing it go higher, but I think I'm doing the right thing right now by saying like this rally does not look like any of these rallies. It does not look like any of these rallies. I'm sorry, but it doesn't even look like the March rally. To me, the rally that this looks like is it looks like this rally to me. That's what it looks like to me. So that's how I'm gonna try to play it. So if I was in a long, I would probably be sitting those longs, but I'm interested in building long exposure. I don't want to risk spot buys though, although it would be interesting. I don't want to risk spot buys because trading is my income. I have basically no other income source. It's hard to manage the risk of spot buys, but maybe I could risk like 10,000, buy a number of Bitcoin if they drop down, sell down here. I mean, that's something I could consider doing. Question is how to best get into a position. Like how far we might not pull back, if possible. We might pull back to here. We might pull back to here. We might pull back to here. Hmm. I don't know. I want to do more study and I also kind of want to see what price does, but my idea is no shorts, only longs. I can maybe try shorts once I'm in longs, but any of these levels I could try. But with the expectation that we're going to have sideline liquidity like this, levels will get left behind. Some will get cleared, some will get left behind. Okay. Now let's quickly look at my equity curve. Yeah, January like my worst month ever. 0 wins, 7 losses. No, it's even worse. I'm missing something here. Um, Math's not adding up. Look at this. 27% win percentage, yet I'm up like $40,000. A lot to be improved upon, but it shows you can have a real low win rate and still do quite well. Um, I see. Yeah, terrible month, worst month ever, but we survive. Thank you. Thanks to risk management. I did, it feels bad to have drawn down 10% on the month, but I did prepare to risk more, and I did, and I'm okay with that. And I didn't lose more in a trade than I budgeted to lose, so yeah, not perfect, but it is what it is, and we'll be okay. Took a total of 3. Looks like it probably wants to keep going, although this is an area I might cool off in, as the liquidations will be, a lot of the liquidations will be over. I can't say that the alt market cap looks nearly as bullish as Bitcoin does, because we're still, I don't know, it just doesn't look nearly as good, but I mean, Bitcoin dominance has been on fire, as well as ETH. ETH did well too. It, ETH and Bitcoin went together. I mean, it could signal institutional buyers are coming back into the markets, which would make sense with the new year, January. Appetite for risk coming back on. So, yeah, I had taught, just didn't do well. I had thought it would be a good idea to be a long-term investor in these levels, but I just don't want to be a long-term investor, and I didn't execute for all sorts of reasons. But I believe I have the correct bias now, and that higher is likely. We will see, though. We will see. I would love to have a good long entry. I think a breakout long in here could be good too. Right at, yeah, it just totally blew it because something that was so beautiful about this is how low volatility it was. It was possible to get in at a really tight stop. There was a number of them. And initially, as I was I was interested in the higher targets up here, but I didn't do it. Anyways, thanks for watching, and we'll be back at it this week. Oh yeah, one more thing. The indices, did they open yet? No, they open soon. Yeah, I mean, to me, they look like they bottomed in. Um, I guess this bottomed in October, but this looks like a higher high, and then we're gonna run a fuck ton of short stops. People who are habituated to shorting. I wouldn't be surprised to see all-time high this year, honestly. It's possible. Okay, well, good luck. May we get the bag. Peace.